Welcome back. It is exactly 8:39 this Wednesday morning. You know, we've all grown very accustomed to taking selfies anywhere and everywhere and then posting them on social media. In light of this year's polarized presidential election, some of us are already planning to show our pride by posting a photo of our ballot or a selfie from the polls. But be careful, because you might be breaking the law. And here with us today to tell you what you need to know is Shari. Good morning.
Morning, John.
Very interesting. We wouldn't even be having this conversation a few years ago before selfies existed,
Right.
but here they are. And I understand why, you know, privacy might prevent others from taking our photo when we go to vote, but how can there be laws preventing us from taking and posting our selfies?
Right. So you're referring to our First Amendment rights, which we go out of our way to protect. The thing is, the other thing we want to protect is the integrity of our voting process. And theoretically, photos can infringe on that. So, for example, if there's an unpopular candidate, people could be intimidated against voting for them if there are other people there taking photographs. Or if someone wants to sell their vote, for example, that would be the way to document, would be to take a photograph of your vote. So the Supreme Court has actually ruled that restricting certain activities within a buffer zone around the polling place is not a First Amendment violation. The problem is beyond that, John. There aren't any uniform federal rules, so they vary from state to state and from precinct to precinct. There are actually about a half a dozen states that specifically prohibit photographing at the polls, but about 20 states prohibit photographing or sharing in any way your ballot, and that actually includes an absentee ballot that might happen not even at the polls.
And that's even before selfies were invented, just photographs in general.
Which is part of the problem. These rules predate certainly the Constitution and the First Amendment.
So what happens if you break the law?
Well, and the enforcements and the penalty also vary. So it could be anything, depending on where you live, it could be anything from a fine to jail time to something as simple as having to delete your photograph or being evicted from the voting polls, or maybe even having your vote invalidated. And that's why it's so important to actually know the penalties where you live.
And yeah, so it's different in different places. What does Florida say about this law, and when you can take a selfie?
Right. So we actually live in one of the tougher states. In Florida, you're not allowed to take photographs at the polls, and you're not allowed to photograph or share your ballot. So we want to be really careful that we don't do that.
Well, I have to admit, I took one in the parking lot a few years ago, just my little I voted, you know, sticker, and I was very proud of that, and I posted it.
Yeah, you're actually okay photographing a sticker.
Goodness.
That's okay.
Saw a cop coming toward me. Hey, no, I'm only kidding. Shari, thanks again for the explanation.
We'll look for your mugshot this year.
Right, now we know. Let's check the forecast with Felicia.